Hello, Ace and Beaky here, and since the stars seem to be aligning, or I'm just crazy and occasionally a blind hog finds an acorn, I'm also going to talk about an idea that kind of has some of my same criticisms against Disney and the establishment, but could actually help them. And that is potentially for the next Kingdom Hearts game. I've noticed that whenever Disney and Square Enix, whenever they make Kingdom Hearts, they seem, instead of branching out to uh, TV shows or even movies that wouldn't have had the best reception but would have made a good video game level, they prefer to kind of, overdo and focus on things from the Disney Renaissance, and to their credit, some of the better stuff from Pixar. Now, I understand why you would want to put your best foot forward, especially with the Sora trilogy, but if you're going to start making like episodic Kingdom Hearts games, or Kingdom Hearts games that maybe has less to deal with Sora and the crew, to where you have more of a blank slate, and you can start utilizing some things that didn't necessarily make the most out of box office, may not have even gotten the best reviews, but on paper, maybe something that wasn't the best movie would make a good video game level. A lot of people kind of talk bad about, Atlantis and Treasure Planet. Not bad, but that it was kind of like the twilight of Disney for a while before it started going downhill. And it's like, well, even though I enjoyed those movies, even if those movies aren't the best movies to put forward for a Kingdom Hearts level, Atlantis would have potential to be awesome, as would Treasure Planet, especially if you were doing a lot of open world and parkour stuff with it. There's also a lot of TV series that would be great worlds for whatever group of characters to explore. And I mean, we're not even talking about stuff like with Star Wars. Star Wars probably has so many things in it that if you put all the Star Wars possible levels together, it'd be a big enough game by itself. So it would be like Star Wars has so many eras, from the Clone Wars eras to the original trilogy to, Rebels in between and Rogue One and all that, that it'd be like you could go and visit Star Wars in several different games, and each time it would be a completely unique experience. It wouldn't be like some of the milder critiques people had for Kingdom Hearts 2, to where it was different enough, but at the end of the day, you were still going to Nightmare Before Christmas Town and fighting Oogie Boogie, and you were still going to Aladdin Town and fighting Jafar. And then it's like you want to, do that Little Mermaid level where you start singing ransom lyrics. Good Lord, man. This is what makes people embarrassed to do stuff from Japan, because it's like I'll be playing the cool parts of the game, and then whenever I was a teenager, parents would walk in on a horrible, horrible thing. It's like, oh my gosh, my son's retarded and possibly gay. The thing is that there's a lot of things, Disney, that if you knew how to utilize them, they would be good. Maybe they're not the best at the movie theater, or maybe they didn't do as much as you would have liked on TV, but their ideas would make for a good Kingdom Hearts level video game. There's Atlantis, there's Treasure Planet. One thing is that the Princess Frog, although it may not have the most potential for the level design itself, it probably has design for a really cool boss fight. And I kind of wish, Disney, that you at least had some rights to Narnia, because Narnia would be awesome. If you had made a world based off of Narnia, and you did heartless versions of the White Witch's minions or Telmarines or something, that would be really cool. And it's like you could visit in the Kingdom Hearts games that I've played, you can sometimes visit the same world twice and there's new agendas to do. But the thing with Narnia is that if you visited it more than once, it would be different each time. Or maybe that should just be saved for, this Kingdom Hearts game has you go through the Magician's Nephew story arc. This Kingdom Hearts game, one of its levels is Prince Caspian, and, in this Kingdom Hearts game, one of its levels is a silver chair. But the thing is, I kind of wish you kept the rights to Narnia, Disney, if just for one thing, just so that we could have Narnia and Kingdom Hearts. Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts sounds awesome enough as it is, but Narnia and Kingdom Hearts, that would just be something unique that I would like. Especially how they change shape. It'd be cool if, Donald went down as some kind of bird creature, where he was basically probably a mix between a phoenix, a griffin, or a cockatrice, because that was in Narnia. Sora would be like a fawn or a satyr, But if he could temporarily transform into a centaur to have a racing part of the level, kind of like how he got on the Tron light cycle, but in Narnia, and then if he just turned into a centaur for that part, and Goofy, now this would be how you would make Goofy surprisingly badass, is if Goofy was a Minotaur in Telmarine armor. And you know that would be badass. Seeing Goofy as a Minotaur dressed up like those samurai conquistadors, that would be a sight to behold. And I mean, there's other things. There's TV shows like Gargoyles that a lot of people are liking, and it's even having something of a revival where, Sora and Donald and Goofy could go in as very unique and interesting gargoyle designs. And some things, since you don't have time for everything, you could be efficient and kind of put some very similar TV shows in the same world. Like if you could put Darkwing Duck and DuckTales in the same world. If nothing else, it's like if something is too diverse, then maybe, Darkwing Duck should just be a summon. But, or maybe, a lot of those other things that it's like, okay, if the worlds are similar enough, maybe we'll just kind of squish them all into the same world. And, since it's made up for Kingdom Hearts and it has a lot in common. But the thing is that Disney, there's so much that you can do. And I'm just talking about Kingdom Hearts. You've got the right to Kingdom Hearts. I'm surprised you haven't made an anime out of it, although I've heard that you are going to. I hope you get the right people on it. I hope that the anime doesn't suck, that it actually feels like something worthy of Square Enix, that it feels like it's as good as Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I didn't say it's violent or dark because it's Kingdom Hearts, but if there was a Kingdom Hearts show and it was an anime and it felt like it had the same quality as Full Metal Alchemist / Brotherhood, but maybe more of the pacing of the Clone Wars, since it would be all over the place and you'd visit different worlds, that would be awesome. And you've got so many things from Marvel that would be a good world too. So the thing is that Disney, I know you're afraid to kind of knock something where it works, but you can actually put moderate amounts of money into something and then exercise reasonable, calculated risks with a safety net so that if it doesn't work out, you don't lose too much. Get the right people on it, and if you don't want to take chances with a big console Kingdom Hearts game, make it like one of the downloadable games, or make it about like one of the handheld games, because then I feel that what you did for the hiatus between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 is that you were practicing with different formulas to make the game on the handhelds, and I feel like you were saying, okay, should we go the route of what we did with Birth by Sleep, or should we go the route of what we did by 358/2 days or whatever? What's the stuff that people are the most receptive to, and what's going to translate better to the next console thing. So I'm thinking, if you're kind of afraid to experiment on this, make it to where it's like some kind of side story that's either like a DLC download or a handheld game that people get in bits and pieces, and then you can, weigh the results from there. So easy come, easy go. That way you're taking a calculated risk. I would really like to see you, Disney, do a proper version with the Kingdom Hearts anime, although knowing how Disney has been lately, I would really hope they would get the right guy. Square Enix actually has some good writers and good experience with anime. I'm sure there's some other ones that would be more appropriate, but I'm thinking about Full Metal Alchemist is the first one that comes to mind. So, and Disney has worked with Studio Ghibli. I would love it if they were like, okay, well, let's take notes from Full Metal Alchemist and Studio Ghibli, and maybe kind of what Dave Filoni did with the pacing of the Clone Wars, because they're like in a galaxy and different planets are the magical equivalent of Disney worlds. But I digress. That's just my idea, Disney, how you could not redo, but how you could do the next iteration of Kingdom Hearts. And how it would also be a testing ground to see what worked for an even bigger and better future project. Anyway, I hope you get the right people involved, and I hope you learn how to take calculated risks with a safety net, and that you're willing to try some things new. This is Ace and Beaky, over and out.